Hey everyone, welcome back to Carrie's Thrifty Farmhouse. If you like decorating on a budget, you're in the right place. Today I'm excited to participate in the Chic for Cheek challenge hosted by Christy from Christy Creates and Sammy from Unicorn Dust Designs. I'll link both of their channels in the description box below, as well as the playlist for the challenge, so be sure to check their channels out and then follow the playlist to see what everyone comes up with. If you enjoy this video, I would love for you to like, comment, and hopefully subscribe so I can grow my channel. So with all the formalities out of the way, let's get started. Both projects today have a Valentine's theme, and this first project uses these cute little heart-shaped mini grapevine wreaths from Dollar Tree. This is the first time I've seen these at Dollar Tree, and they were so cute to begin with that I knew I had to use them in a project. I wanted to stick with natural tones for this project, but I wanted to lighten the wreaths slightly, so I thought I'd share a quick way I whitewash items with no paintbrush involved. I started with a small tub of half a cup of white chalk paint. Then I added 1.5 cups of water and mixed with a whisk. Then I just dipped the mini wreaths into the basin and set them out to dry. You can dip them as many times as you like to reach your desired finish. For this project, I dipped them twice, letting them dry slightly in between. This is a really subtle way to lighten items, but I really like that the paint sinks down into all the nooks and crannies, resulting in a really uniform finish. And here you'll see that I whitewashed lots of other items to take advantage of the solution I made. Next, I'm using this floral pick I snagged from Dollar Tree with these mini white roses. I do plan to use the flowers for another project, but today I'm just using the stems. They have these really pretty stems that almost look like a light green or yellowish moss, and that's what I'm going to glue around the wreaths. The stems did have a few of these little green spiky leaves, which I did trim off, and then I used the glue gun and worked in sections gluing the stems around the wreaths. I used the stems on 2 of the heart wreaths, but for the third wreath I used Dollar Tree moss. I worked in sections gluing down clumps of moss and then gave the wreath a little haircut. This one came together super fast. My plan is to display these in a tiny pitcher I found at Volunteers of America last week for just 45 cents, but first I need to add stems. I cut 3 Dollar Tree skewers to the sizes I liked. The Dollar Tree dog nail clippers are perfect for cutting the skewers. They work so much better than scissors. Then I wrapped the skewers with jute twine. I used hot glue every so often as I worked on the skewer with the twine to ensure that it wouldn't unravel. Finally, I just glued the skewers to the hearts to finish off my little flowers. Next, I'm painting the picture that I mentioned that I snagged from Volunteers of America last week. The original price was 90 cents, but I went on half off day, so I got it for 45 cents. What a steal. I forgot to get footage of the picture before I began painting. I picked it out because I really liked the shape and the size, but it had this blue around the edges that I didn't really care for, so I wanted it to be a solid neutral, so I'm using my Waverly chalk paint in the color Mineral today. It took 2 coats to get good coverage. After the vase dried, I added floral foam to the inside. A little trick with floral foam is to cut a square the approximate size of the vase and then cut off the corners so that it fits in the round vase. I arranged the flowers so that the moss one was in the back and the 2 from the floral stems were in the front. The hearts are a little front heavy, so they have a tendency to turn, but the foam held them in place nicely. I covered the foam with Spanish moss and I was almost done. I thought the vase looked a little plain, so I added this cream-colored ribbon with a thin stripe around the middle. It was a really simple way to dress it up a little while still keeping with the natural tones. I like to fold over the ribbon before gluing it down so that it looks nice and finished, even in the back. And here they are. I just love how these turned out. I thought this little pitcher was the perfect size for our bathroom sink. Don't they just look so cute? For my next project, I thought I'd try my hand at a Valentine's wreath, and I started with one of the grapevine wreaths from Dollar Tree. I used the same whitewash concoction I made earlier, but I just poured it into a tall kitchen bag and double bagged to make sure there wouldn't be any spills. Then I put the wreath inside and shook the bag and sloshed the water around to coat the wreath, and then I set the wreath to dry. It's just that easy. Next, I took this little heart from one of Dollar Tree's mini Valentine signs and painted it white. I used Rust-Oleum white linen chalk paint, but you can really use any white paint you have on hand. I'm going to be using the back, but I painted over the front as well so that it covered the glitter and prevented it from getting everywhere. Next, I'm covering the heart with ribbon. I thought it would be fun to use two different types of ribbon, a black and white buffalo check and a black and white polka dot. I coated both the heart and the back of the ribbon with Mod Podge and then laid the ribbon down, alternating between the check and the polka dot. Once I was finished, I put a layer of Mod Podge over the top and set it to dry. While the Mod Podge dried, I worked on the wreath. First, I added lamb's ear to the bottom. I believe this lamb's ear was from a floral pick I snagged from Joann Fabrics when they had a buy one get two free sale earlier this season. It's a little smaller than the lamb's ear I usually get from Walmart, which was perfect for this smaller wreath. Then I was on the fence about these little doves, and you'll see me trying to figure out how to place them, or even if I wanted them in at all. I was afraid that the tails wouldn't allow the wreath to sit flat, so I ended up putting them backwards, and that worked well. I had to use a lot of hot glue to get them to sit how I liked, so I covered the hot glue with these pretty little frosted berries, and the wreath really started to come together. Now that the Mod Podge is dry, I cut off the excess ribbon. You may have noticed that the original heart had a scalloped edge, but I just cut a straight line around the edge and you can't even tell. I attached the heart at the top using twine. First, I glued 2 pieces of twine to the back of the heart, and then I glued those to the back of the wreath. You'll see I also used some of the ribbon cuts as reinforcement to make sure that the heart was nice and secure. So here's the final product. You'll see that I added a bow at the top. I got so caught up in figuring out what kind of bow I wanted to use that I forgot to film. But I just made a super simple bow by gluing a strip of the buffalo check ribbon to the center and folding loops and gluing those. Then I added a loop of the polka dot ribbon in the middle and covered that with some of the red frosted berries to tie it all together. There were a few points in the middle where I really wasn't too sure how this was going to come together, but it really did in the end, and it looked so cute. And even my hubby likes the birds, so I'm glad I left them in. Thanks for joining me today. If you found me from the Chic for Cheap playlist, I'd love for you to stick around and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification button so you can stay up to date with my content. I have lots in store for the winter season that you won't want to miss. Next time, I think I'm going to make over my mantle and transition it from my Jingle Bells theme to a neutral Farmhouse Valentine's theme. So stay tuned for that. See you next time. Bye.